Elex follows the common philosophy in this business. In the gaming industry, the customer is always wrong and deserves to be beaten and robbed in a seedy alleyway.
Oh my god, this is so true for today as well. How's it going, folks? Jack here with another reaction. So today we'll be checking out a review from Seth on Elex. A game. Elex is weird. It is made by the same publishers who did Risen as well as Gothic. Two very good games, in my opinion, of course. I think that Risen is a bit debatable, but Gothic, definitely good. Then they made this one. It came out in 2017, and it feels very much like a broken Bethesda game. Correction, a Bethesda game. The Elder Scrolls and Fallout fans out there, I'm not apologizing, you know that this is true. And also, if my memory serves me right, they did make a sequel last year, although I never touched that one. But it's supposed to be a bit better, but from what I recall from Elex, it was like a game that has some decent narrative. Environmentally, it's pleasing, the world design is nice, it kind of feels sort of like The Surge, which also came out the same year, yeah. But whatever, I'm not going to start to do my own review on that game. Let's listen to what Seth has to say.
Hey people, Seth here. Once upon a time, Germany committed an act of such contemptible evil that the world still remembers them for it, to the shame of a modern German nation and its people. They asked Piranha Bytes, popular German RPG developer, to make the same game for over 20 years. For nearly 2 decades, Piranha Bytes has been releasing Gothic 2 under different titles, and the German population is none the wiser. Oh, it loaded. This looks good. Press any button to continue. What a terribly coded game. Elex is the latest copy of Gothic 2.
Great.
The story takes place in the world of Magalan, a modernized planet much like ours, which got hit by a comet containing magic crystals called Elex. Most people die off. The lucky ones who survive become mindless mutants tainted by Elex, while the unlucky ones become Germans. The Germans split into 4 different factions. The Albs, who consume Elex to become more and more autistic and thus more powerful.
Yep.
The Berserkers, who are like the German version of Amish people and refuse to use Elex technology, but use Elex to turn into mana, which doesn't count. The Clerics, who are just religious fanatics. And the Outlaws, who are ANCAP as fuck, hate organized government, and hate roads even more. You play as Jax, a man gifted with a unique power. He can jump higher than any white person ever recorded in history. For this reason, the other elves get jealous of him and shoot down his plane. Then your manlet brother attempts to assassinate you, but can't aim very well because the gun is designed for adult fingers and not children. So you survive and fall down the cliff. When you wake up, the Elex is gone from your system and you're forced to experience human emotions for the first time, such as anger at the clunky control scheme, and confusion at the strange texture popping, delayed or absent sound effects, and porn-tier voice acting. Stranded among former enemies, Jax has to forge alliances and build trust with the other factions to find out why his allies tried to kill him. And
it's great that this thing came out in 2017, because if it came out sometimes later, I would have said that this game was AI generated.
Beat the final antagonist of his game, the combat system. While Jax can jump very high for a caucasoid, helped even more so by his trusty jetpack, this won't save you from Elix's atrocious combat. The system is fairly straightforward. Jax attacks through a relentless combination of quick and strong attacks to string combos together.
Yeah.
So what could possibly go wrong? Everything. Piranha Bytes is a developer that's infamous for designing terrible combat. So don't be surprised. In fact, if you play by the rules set by the developer, you will die. Instead, you need to do what all sensible people do with Piranha Bytes RPGs. You abuse the system as much as possible. In Gothic 2, probably millions of people fell for the combat meme. They didn't know you could just spend a few hundred gold in the first town to buy a scroll to transform into a black raptor, and rampage through the entire first map, skipping virtually the first 10 levels of bullshit Piranha Bytes crams down your throat. You need to approach this game in the same way.
It's true.
The stamina bar is a great feature and adds a lot to the game. There's nothing more satisfying than watching a green bar deplete and replenish in the top left of my screen
So
as I
dumb.
wait for my cerebral palsy-stricken character to accumulate enough energy for his
recover.
paralyzed muscles to spring into motion. In fact, the stamina bar serves no purpose except to cause you suffering. This is because only
Your companions are ridiculous in this game. They do nothing.
humans have stamina. Monsters and wildlife follow no such system and can attack without restriction. Even better, if you're hit while your stamina is recovering, it interrupts the recovery. This leads to a fun, innovative system built around stun-locking someone into a coma. The combat almost appears to be intentionally designed bad. You couldn't make it any worse unless you tried very hard. Maybe give a character tank controls instead. Oh, and give him a warning every time his stamina and health gets low, which will be every few seconds.
Your health is low. Do you have any potions or food?
None of this matters when you play the game the real way it's meant to be played. The way the developers didn't intend. You recruit Durus and suck him off so he aggroes all the monsters. Then, while he's holding their attention and is absolutely immune to damage, you just spam grenades and ranged attacks. Then you cheese through the entire game. And why would I not cheese through the entire game? Why would I not abuse the fact that attacks stunlock enemies by simply running through half of a fucking game map, reaching the cleric base, and buying a flamethrower? Because, fun fact, you need almost no stats to weld the best gun in the game, which can spit out fireballs that stunlock and knock over everything they hit in a wide radius, so you can safely kill anything in the game without them even having the chance to defend themselves. And why would I not abuse the fact that crafting recipes are broken, when I can go to a trader in the outlaw town and buy infinite amounts of electronic scrap and iron ore, convert these into mental energy reserves, which is magic ammunition used by the clerics, and upgrade these in a 1-to-1 ratio into higher tier copies of mental energy reserves that sell for threefold more than the cost of my base ingredients, leading me to have infinite amounts of money, or Deutschmarks as they're called in game. Germans will likely defend and applaud the game. Germans with names like Jürgen, Hans, and Ahmed will state that there's nothing wrong with the game, and it's designed for real hardcore RPG players like the
If you've been, I think I made this reference before, but if you've been like visited Germany in like in the Dortmund area, if you are not friends with an Ahmed, then you are not truly German. They know the best fast food joint, they know the best car mechanics. They are that rare gem of a friend that you need to find.
themselves. Besides, it reminds me of real-life Germany, where walking outside in Berlin will result in your immediate stabbing. Thankfully for the Germans, you can't quick load in real life. I say you shouldn't trust their opinions. A country whose highest grossing game titles are farming, forklift, and bus driving simulators lack the credibility to make any judgments on what's good. To the typical German gamer, Arbeit macht frei, and they cannot separate work from leisure. Modern copies of Farming Simulator are electronically linked to real-life driverless farms in Germany, tricking the average German male into supporting the Eurozone economy without pay. The grain
As a Dane, I can confirm that at that age, which will be like 12 to 14, 15 at best, that's what all the teens looked like. It was fucking gross. And I'm so glad that being a nerd and or like having the laissez-faire look now is something that a lot of teenagers still kind of do. Because looking like plastic, that was kind of weird. Because being normal looking was only a privilege that was passed on to those of us who took a shower and or those who were not really social, being the gamers, the nerds.
Grains produced from such operations are so cheap and plentiful that the EU can afford to airlift them by the metric ton and drop them directly on sub-Saharan African villages, instantly drowning the native population in a river of wheat. World's construction and level design is stellar, and probably the strongest feature of Elex. Every crevice, nook, and cranny has been clearly handcrafted and stuffed with items, gear, and consumables for you to plunder, together with many dangers. The voice acting can be patchy at times with the English dub, but the quests are very well done and offer many solutions to tackle them. The decisions you make influence the opinions and actions of characters, companions, and factions throughout the world, and steer the course of the story toward one of the major groups and their ideology for how Magalan should be run. The companions you bring with you also have their own interactions with NPCs, and their presence alone can change the outcome of missions you're given. Just be aware their AI is garbage. Ray just stood still while I was getting mauled by a horde of animals, and doesn't even intervene in fights unless you've already won. Durus is less garbage because his AI is more aggressive, but is still prone to standing still like a tard, or switching from his melee weapon to his bow in melee range. I didn't have a chance to test out Arx as a companion, since my parents forbid me from playing with skinheads, so I can't comment on his AI. Also, while the graphics are absolutely great, one of the features I appreciated the most was how well the day-night cycles were done, and the lighting differences between them. During evenings in the game, it might even be so damn dark, you can't see fucking anything, sort of signaling you to go to bed or camp until visibility improves. But close to the evening is when old lights switch on for different ruined apartment blocks and buildings. Bioluminescent plants provide ambient glow to orient yourself, and the whole game actually takes on a completely different color palette, especially around the different faction encampments. That's really nice. I think the game can be described as a very solid open-world RPG, if you give it the chance, with some questionable design choices that, if you work around, leaves you with a very enjoyable experience that encourages replayability. With all that said, there's technical issues, bugs, and glitches out the ass for this release. My advice, go wait a few months. Let the people who bought it full price playtest it for you and suffer. Then come back and buy it for a fraction of the price when the product improves. Elex follows the common philosophy in this business. In the gaming industry, the customer is always wrong and deserves to be beaten and robbed in a seedy alleyway. So I give this game a
oh my god, this is so true for today as well.
A thinking emoji out of 10.
Life is a prison, and we all serve our time.
My experience with Elex can be compared to my recent experience with ordering doner kebab. I was tired and hungry. I had a long shift at the labs. I needed nourishment. The sexually repressed and frustrated woman at the counter took advantage of my weakness, handing me the greasiest and sloppiest doner ever conceived. I ate it, devoured it with gusto, and was filled with temporary, short-term...
Okay, not to come off as like totally hating on donors here. They are good to a certain extent, but don't make it a usual thing. It was funny because in university we had a pizzeria like 10 minutes away, but because our university, like the Danish Technological University or Technical University of Denmark, it's called DTU. That's why the letters, anyways, had a deal with that pizzeria that gave the student, I think, 40% off, I think. So things were extremely cheap. So, boy, some people put on weight at that time, and they were wondering, how am I feeling so tired? Yeah, you're eating pizza all day.
Little did I know, I was also filled with food poisoning, and the catalyst for the mega shits my ass would experience for the next 3 days. While in pain I thought, who could be responsible for this? Who could condone such atrocities? I knew it. I knew it. Angela Merkel, you did this. You made me shit my guts out for 3 days straight. You fucking whore.
I love the nation of Germany. Basinger. Bing bing one up woohoo. Stay tuned for more wacky adventures from SsethTzeentach. Thank you to all my generous patrons, you are wonderful. Remember to like and subscribe for an extra molecule of oxygen. Yabba dabba doo.
Oh my god, he does have one on Gothic. Okay, we're gonna watch that next. But guys, thank you so much for checking out this reaction. As always, please do go and subscribe to Seth. And you can get access to Elex for dirt cheap and or other means. It's one of the experiences of all time for sure. So if you want to try it out, definitely do that. That said though, we should have a wonderful day. See you guys in the next one. Bye.
My niggas are savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. Records on records, got backers on backers. I'm riding around in a coupe. I take your beat right from you.